She had always believed that life changed slowly, like seasons drifting from one to another without being noticed. But everything changed for her on one ordinary morning, so ordinary that she never expected anything to happen at all. The sun was soft, the streets were busy, and she was walking with her headphones in, trying to calm her thoughts before another long day at work. She wasn't thinking about love, or destiny, or anything that might shape her future. She was only trying to cross the road when a careless motorcyclist suddenly turned too close, too fast. Before she could react, someone grabbed her wrist and pulled her safely backward. She stumbled into the arms of a stranger, warm, steady, and breathless from the sudden movement. For a moment, the world froze. His hands rested on her shoulders, his voice low and calm as he asked if she was all right. She nodded, too shocked to speak, but something in his eyes made her feel strangely safe, as if she had known him for longer than a few seconds. He smiled, a quiet, reassuring smile that she carried with her the entire rest of the day. He left before she could thank him properly, disappearing into the morning crowd like a moment she imagined but never really understood. The next day, she saw him again. This time at the small tea shop near her office where she usually went every morning. He was sitting alone, reading something on his phone, looking completely unaware of how he had stepped into her life like fate itself. She hesitated, wondering if he would recognize her, wondering if she even wanted him to. He looked up, and the surprise in his eyes softened into something warm. He didn't ask if she remembered him. He didn't try to make the moment dramatic. He simply smiled the same quiet smile and said good morning, as if they were two old friends meeting again after years. Their conversation started small: tea, weather, work, nothing too personal. But even in those simple words, she felt a connection forming, something gentle and unforced, something she couldn't place but also couldn't ignore. He listened with genuine interest, and she found herself opening up without feeling judged or misunderstood. It amazed her how natural it felt to talk to him, how comfortable silence became when shared with someone who didn't rush to fill it. Their meetings didn't stop. Every morning, without planning it, they found themselves at the same tea shop at the same time. Some days he arrived first, other days she did. But no matter who came earlier, the other always followed. Their conversations grew longer, their smiles warmer, and the space between them smaller. She didn't know what to call it: friendship, attraction, something more, but she knew she looked forward to seeing him every day. He had a calm presence, the kind that made even difficult days feel lighter. She learned that he loved old books, that he liked rain but hated thunderstorms, that he preferred quiet places over crowded ones. He learned that she loved long walks, that she cried at emotional movies, and that she made the best decisions when she followed her heart instead of her fears. He listened to her dreams, her worries, the things she never told anyone else. He didn't interrupt, didn't judge, he simply made her feel heard. Weeks passed, and their connection deepened. They started meeting after work too, sometimes for a walk, sometimes for tea again, sometimes just to sit together on a quiet bench and talk about life. They discovered that their pace matched, that their silences weren't awkward, that their laughter came easily when they were together. She felt something growing inside her, something tender, something she tried to hide behind casual smiles. She didn't know if he felt it too, but the way he looked at her sometimes made her wonder. One evening, after a long walk, they reached her street. The sun was setting, painting the sky in soft orange and purple shades. She stopped near her gate, unsure if she wanted the day to end. He stood beside her, hands in his pockets, looking at her with an expression she couldn't decode. The moment stretched quietly between them, warm but uncertain. She opened her mouth to speak, but before she could say anything, he stepped closer. He didn't touch her, he didn't rush, he simply said her name softly, like he was afraid the wind would carry it away. Then he told her that these weeks had become the best part of his days. That meeting her felt like a piece of peace he didn't even know he needed. That every smile she gave stayed with him longer than it should. His voice wasn't dramatic, it was honest, almost hesitant, like someone afraid of losing something precious by saying too much. She felt her heart flutter, actually flutter, as she listened. She had imagined this moment so many times but never thought it would feel so real, so fragile, so beautiful. Her eyes softened, and for the first time in weeks, she didn't hide her feelings. She told him she felt the same, that she had spent days trying to convince herself it was just friendship, but her heart refused to listen. She said she didn't know what the future held, but she wanted to take the next step, with him. He let out a breath he had been holding for too long, and the smile that formed on his face was the kind she knew she would remember forever. He reached for her hand slowly, giving her enough time to pull away if she wanted to. She didn't. Their fingers intertwined naturally, fitting together like they had always belonged there. The world around them softened, the streetlights shimmered, and for the first time in a long time, she felt completely at peace. From that night on, everything changed, not suddenly, but beautifully. They started spending more time together, discovering new things about each other, building trust, sharing hopes they once kept hidden. Their relationship wasn't perfect. They argued sometimes, misunderstood each other, and had days when nothing felt easy. But they learned, they listened, and they held on to each other through every moment. He supported her dreams even when she doubted herself. She calmed his fears even when he didn't show them. He brought laughter into her life, she brought warmth into his. Their love grew not in grand events but in the quiet moments, holding hands while walking, sharing tea on cold evenings, comforting each other during difficult days, celebrating small victories as if they were huge. They built a bond based on kindness, patience, and understanding, the kind of bond that doesn't fade with time but grows deeper. Months passed, and love settled softly between them, steady and real. They didn't rush into future plans, but they dreamed together. They didn't make big promises, but their actions spoke for them. Their love wasn't loud or dramatic, it was gentle, healing, the kind that feels like coming home after years of wandering. And she realized that sometimes, the most beautiful love stories aren't the ones that begin with fireworks but the ones that grow quietly, patiently, through kindness and connection. She often remembered the day he saved her from that speeding motorcycle. A second later, and she might have walked away unharmed, never meeting him, never knowing the warmth he brought into her life. Fate works in strange ways, she thought. Sometimes a single moment pulls your life in a different direction, towards someone who was always meant to find you. In the end, their love didn't just change her days. It changed her heart, her sense of belonging, her belief that life always brings what you need at the right time. She learned that love doesn't show up loudly. Sometimes, it arrives quietly, over a cup of tea, under a morning sun, in the eyes of someone who holds your hand gently and says they're glad you stayed. And she stayed, and so did he, and together, they built something beautiful. I hope you enjoy the video. Please subscribe to my channel, thank you.